Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and I'll tell you what, y'all. I got a lot of news, got a lot of rumors to talk about here on today's show, and I always predicate myself on trying to keep you guys as up-to-date as humanly possible. Though, we have a lot of people working here at Chat Sports now. Sometimes I get my studio time stolen away from me, and I couldn't talk about two moves that the Raiders made over the past few days. The first move that they did was actually on Thursday. They went out and signed cornerback Cre'Von LeBlanc, and this is one of those guys where back in 2016 when he played for the Chicago Bears, personally that's when I thought he had his best year. He's really just a slot corner. He was on the practice squad last season for the Houston Texans, and no disrespect to him, but if you're on the Houston Texans, you're not good enough to make that 53-man roster. You're more of just a body. Now, back in 2020, he played in 9 games, started only 1, 22 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 3 pass breakups. He's going to be a physical slot, and maybe for the Raiders, if they decide to play a lot of dime packages or a lot of nickel, which you might see them go ahead and do, LeBlanc might be one of those dudes, but if I'm being 100% with y'all, would absolutely be shocked if he made the final 53-man roster. Another move that the Raiders went ahead and made, they went out and signed offensive guard Jordan Meredith, and this is more of just a future deal. He was a Rams UDFA last offseason, never gotten a chance to play. He was released right before the final roster cut. So again, we know the Raiders have needs at the cornerback position. We know the Raiders have needs at the offensive line position. These are just 2 depth moves as it stands right now. Now, if you love the Raiders, if you bleed silver and black, and if you appreciate what we do for y'all here, today is my birthday. I want to be able to come in and make a video for y'all, chop it up with Raider Nation, because I love y'all to the end of the world and back. I bleed silver and black, but also I keep you guys up to date. News, rumors. We're the #1 Raider show in the world for a reason. We're dedicated. We're proud of what we do. But also, we appreciate everyone that hits that sub button. So please, hit that sub button and turn on those notifications. Now, we always talk a lot of rumors here on this show. And obviously, this is the offseason, right? So more Davante Adams talk. And is he going to be on his way to Las Vegas? Bleacher Report released an article on Sunday morning titled, "The Ideal Offseason Trade Scenario for Every NFL Team." Their ideal trade scenario was the Packers franchise tagging Davante Adams, and then Adams being like, well, yeah, I'm looking for like a hefty paycheck. If you franchise tag him, he's going to be making about $19.1 million. Adams is not going to want to make that type of money. So that's why this idea was created. Here's what Bleacher Report had to say on the Packers tagging Adams. The franchise tag is a short-term fix that is projected to cost $19.1 million. It could force the receiver to stay with the Packers, but it isn't likely to mend that relationship when his projected market value is a 5-year, $129.3 million contract per Spotrac. Now, when you really think about that type of deal from Spotrac, you see a guy making about $19.1 million on the franchise tag. I mean, if he gets that $129 million at 5 years, that's projecting him at $25.8 million a year for Adams. Now, I've said multiple times here on the Raiders Report show that 25 is probably the number that I would give Adams if it was a 5-year deal, for the simple fact of 5 years, you're going to make less money. Some of the bigger numbers that we've seen around Adams, like 30, 35, it's because he wants a shorter-term deal. DeAndre Hopkins, he got 27.25. Why? He signed a 2-year deal. Julio Jones got 22. Why? Signed a shorter deal. Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Michael Thomas, they got those figures for signing 5-year deals. So if Davante wants to make top dollar, like more than DeAndre, he's probably going to take a shorter-term deal. Though, 5 years, $25 million a year, I don't think that's all too bad. Here's also what Bleacher Report had to say on the Packers tagging Adams. If they aren't willing to give him the kind of contract he's looking for, the tension between the two sides could get worse. At that point, an alluring package of draft picks could look like the better option. So Davante Adams, according to a report, wants to make $30 million per year. Personally, I do not know if I believe that report. The only way I'm going to give Davante $30 million a year is if it's like a 2-year deal where he makes exactly $30 million a year, or the other way I could piggyback off of that is, all right, Adams, you're going to be with us 3 years. It's going to be $30 million a pop, and as long as we have Derek Carr under contract, then you can go out and get Adams. Maybe even Carr decides to take a little bit less money if we can give some of his extra money to his best friend Davante Adams. But here's my question to you. I want you to be Dave Ziegler. Would you give Adams $30 million a year Type that Y for yes or N for no. For those of you like, why the heck is this guy asking me this question? It's because that's what the Raiders Report does. I want to know what y'all have to say. The amount of fans that I've met in Oakland, Las Vegas, around the world that feel like that they don't have a voice, you're wrong. This is the show that's going to prove that to you. Type that Y for yes, N for no. As much as I love Davante Adams, I am not paying a wide receiver $30 million a year. I'm sorry, unless Derek Carr is making less than $30 million a year. Now, here's also what Bleacher Report had to say on the Packers tagging Adams. There is not an extensive history of players being tagged and traded in the NFL, but there is precedent. Frank Clark, D. Ford, and Jarvis Landry are all players who were franchise tagged and promptly sent off their other teams. Adams has a solid, this is actually now what Bleacher Report's saying if the Raiders go out and trade for Adams. Adams has said that it would be a dream come true to reunite with Derek Carr, his college quarterback at Fresno State. That sounds like an ideal situation for new head coach Josh McDaniels, who will look to take the Raiders' offense to new heights. So after seeing that, after seeing some of those projected contracts, do you think the Raiders should go out and trade for Davante Adams, type T for trade, type P for pass? If, let's just say, the Green Bay Packers franchise tag Adams, you have to have the idea that you're going to go ahead and give up multiple, and I mean multiple first-round picks. On top of that, you're going to have to pay him $25 million a year. So 2 first-rounders, and you're going to pay Davante $25 million. I mean, dude, it's a lot of money. Type T for trade, type P for pass. Now coming up here, I got a Derek Carr trade idea. It's not from me, and I can't stress this enough. I will talk about news, I will talk about rumors, but the way that I put a roof over my head, the way that I pay my bills, the way that I can turn all these lights on is when there's big-time rumors and my boss is like, Mitch, I need you to cover this story. It's juicy. I have to do it. So just because I talk about a Derek Carr trade doesn't mean I think it's going to happen. In fact, I do not think the Raiders move on from D.C. I've said it before. I think it's a 1% chance, and the 1% is Derek wants too much money, or one of these other quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, like, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, like, I want to come to the Raiders. Then you got to make other adjustments, right? My job is to talk about rumors. My job is to talk about Derek Carr. My job is to talk about the silver and black. Now, I am going to get into this Derek Carr trade, which was not created by me. But before I do, these t-shirts sold like hotcakes, and I only got a few left. I put them on last week's show, and if you want this Just Win Baby black shirt or this Raider Nation gray tee, go to chatsports.com/Raiders tee. It's the link that you see below. It's in the description of this video. It is also going to be in the comments. So if you need a new Raiders t-shirt, I want you to go to chatsports.com/Raiders tee. Let's go to this idea now from Bleacher Report. This was the trade that Bleacher Report threw out there, and the whole idea was reuniting Derek Carr with old head coach Jack Del Rio with the Washington Commanders. On top of that, Washington has already come out and said that they plan on trying to be aggressive, and it would not surprise me if they go out and try to find a quarterback. And if anybody out there thinks like, oh, the Cowboys, they're going to win that division. That division winner has been different for 4 straight years. So here was the Bleacher Report trade idea. The Raiders, they get the 11th overall pick this year, a 3rd-round pick from Washington this year, and then the 2023 first-round pick. The Commanders, they get Derek Carr. You know what I'm going to ask you. Take a screenshot, post this on IG, post it on Twitter, at Mitchell Renz 365. Let me know who wins this deal. If you believe it's the Raiders, go ahead and type LV. If you believe it's the Washington Commanders, type WAS. The more and more I look at this, I can say that both teams win. Washington is a quarterback away from competing in that division, and as much as I love DC, guys, if you're getting 2 first-round picks and a 3rd for Derek Carr, that's phenomenal value. Now, if DC is willing to play at 19.9, then I'd actually probably rather have Carr at 19.9 than making a trade. However, if he's like, hey, man, I want $40 million a year, and if you can't, then trade me, then yes, I would absolutely go ahead and make this deal. Now, the only way that, again, that you also make that deal is if there's a quarterback in mind. Do you like Malik Willis? Are you a fan of Kenny Pickett? You hear that Matt Corral guy? Do you like him? Those are the only 3 quarterbacks that I personally would take at number 11. And even then, it might be a little bit of a stretch. Or you could actually trade those picks for an upgrade at quarterback. because now you have 2 extra first-round picks. You're 11, the pick next year, then you can maybe go ahead and shop that out for a Rodgers, for a Wilson, for a Watson. Obviously, you got to see what happens with Watson. Or you're at pick 11, there's teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's other quarterback-needy teams that know that, oh, shit, the Raiders might be in the market now for a quarterback. What happens if you were to trade down, stock up even more of those picks, and then you go into next year's draft where the quarterback class is looking a lot better, save some of those picks, and then go out and get a quarterback? I do not think the Raiders trade Derek Carr, but if that's the trade that they make, that's what would be going around in my head. Now, I always try to keep you guys up to date on the news, on the rumors, and if you love what I do here, always don't be shy. Hit me up on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365. In fact, somebody, please give me a call on my Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365. That way I can talk to somebody. Now, also coming up here, I try to do a little bit of deep dive because somebody asked me, Mitch, are you going to do a Raiders mock draft? My response to that was, yes, I will do a full 7-round mock draft for the silver and black. But before I like to do it, I like to, try to get all the players as much analysis as I could possibly get. Now, I did go back and I looked at 5 Raiders mock drafts from these people: ESPN, CBS Sports, The Draft Network, NFL.com, and PFF. ESPN had the Raiders going out selecting wide receiver from Ohio State, Chris Olave. If you've watched the show for a while, you'll know that I love Chris Olave. And if the Raiders have a true number 1, Olave, if he can be a number 2, look out. Waller, Renfro, Olave, and a number 1 guy like Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson, Davante Adams. If Derek Carr doesn't throw for 30 touchdowns, over 4,500 yards, then he's definitely not the guy. Andrew Booth Jr., he's one of my favorite cornerback prospects. He's actually probably my 3rd overall cornerback prospect this year. Gave up only 1 catch, didn't give up a single catch of over 20 yards last season. Jordan Davis. This is my guy right here, the defensive tackle from UGA. He's big, he's bad, would fit great in a 3-4. Jameson Williams might have been my number 1 receiver with an ACL. And then PFF said Nakobe Dean, a great sideline-to-sideline linebacker. He's a little bit undersized, but his ability, his strength, dude, I'm telling y'all right now, he is going to be one big, bad dude. And this would be more if the Raiders decided to move on from Kukowski, move on from somebody else. So after seeing those 5 names right there, and to be honest, I'd be okay with all 5 of those players at 22. I really, truly would. But let's say all 5 are on the board. Who would you pick? Would you go with Chris Olave, type CO? Maybe you're going to go with Andrew Booth Jr., type AB or FAB. Jordan Davis, JD. Jameson Williams, JW. Nakobe Dean, type ND. What you're about to see on screen is how I would rank these 5 prospects. That's going to be coming up right now. Here's my big board, and here's how I would rank those 5 players. At number 1, it would be Jordan Davis. The Raiders, 5 of their DTs are free agents. And if you could put Jordan Davis next to Yannick Ngakoue, next to Max Crosby, that defensive line, good luck. I love Chris Olave's ability to be a solid number 2. He would fit great with the Raiders. Nakobe Dean, this would be more of a linebacker fit. I could see them running a lot of 3-4. You put Nakobe Dean in with somebody like Divine Diablo, with Denzel Perriman. Maybe you decide to bring back Nicholas Morrow. You got Corey Littleton as well. Andrew Booth Jr., the only way I'm saying you do this is if you need to go out and find another cornerback, either Trayvon Mullen and Booth. And at number 5, the reason why Jameson Williams is last, this team needs to win right now, and I'd be worried to have a wide receiver who might not be ready for week 1.